Hey, so I don't play Minecraft too often. Not anymore, at least. It's been some time since the last time I really, got into it. But there's this map that I've been building on for years. It's just the same map, and after all the things that have been made in it over the time that's passed, I just wanted to show them around. Clearly nothing is finished. There's always something that isn't complete. And this is one of the things that isn't complete. The top part of the walls is pretty well done, but the bottom parts still could use a lot of work. Yeah, it's like these giant, Attack on Titan walls. I mean, they're massive compared to just tiny people. These giant support beams here, those were kind of like the idea of Dark Souls, I guess. Dark Souls is a huge inspiration of mine. And there's this one YouTuber I really like called Hypocrite, and he did something like this, so I wanted to do something like it too. You know, I made this way before I even knew Hypocrite, but seeing him show off his Dark Souls inspired creations made me want to show my own. So it's not complete. There's not really a city here, but this is where the city would be built. And there's a big castle there, a big grand castle over here. And down here there's this blight town gutter of a sewage place. It's like the moat is a district of the city itself. That's kind of what I wanted to do. And you can go from these sewers into the sewers. Oh wow, it's kind of dark. Let me put a torch in my hand. I think that lights things up. Just a bit. Maybe if I add some more lighting. There we go. So you can go from this blight town area into the sewers of this castle. I kind of cut it off. Going over the corners, we can get into this lower gunk yard of a place under the castle. This castle here was me wanting to create a design similar to whatever it's called, Sin's Fortress, or whatever the fortress is called in Dark Souls, the first game. The big torture one with the multiple bridges overlapping each other, with a water pit down below. I mean, it's pretty cool, I guess. I put a lot of just creative work into it. There's no deadlines. There was kind of a goal in mind when I first started this project, but it's never gonna be finished. And I know no one else is ever gonna really see this. This is a prison. Ever gonna see this. So I just thought, since this is just my outlet to build with no objectives, I decided just to show it off. Just show what I've worked on over the years with no real objective in mind anymore. I'm going to add a bunch of archways and just this grand look to it of this echoing hall that you could yell and it would just continue. Like I said, not finished. Clearly there's a lot of the structure that's still just kind of empty. A lot more going around through it. More stairs, some balconies. You're looking up here. What's this? Ooh. Whoa. It's like a nice clean floor on top. Isn't that nice? And there's this outside balcony area. And what's that? Even more castle? Wow. These big grand walls. It's a lot, yeah. This goes inside, so the way you get up here is on the inside of this tower. Right here. And once you get up, then there's this extra room space, and I guess those would be the doors. Yeah. I like adding 2 layers of flooring so that you can have a wood floor, and then below it, on the ceiling, could have a stone. Even though that's not medievally accurate. People didn't have stone floors without heavy archways holding them up. Learning a lot of that from another YouTuber known as Shadversity. The guy's pretty cool. He gave me a lot of insight of how medieval castles work, and I would recommend that you check him out too, if any of you are even caring about noticing me. Like I said about these walls, once I start building them, my friend decided to add these railings to it, almost like this Attack on Titan kind of style. And I added some wood blocks of different color to give it some different box variation. It's like a pig rotating forever. Kind of silly. I might finish that sometime. And then now everyone wants to see what's inside the big grand castle. Now before I do that, I wanted you to notice is that this bridge was me wanting to replicate the castle, like as a whole. I wanted to make it so that people could be like up here, and they would see that, and that would be like the dragon bridge. This structure right here is like literally me looking at Dark Souls and playing the game over and over just to get all the details and corners. And there's this tower here, and the bridge, and then there's this lower bridge section. Even outside, I made this balcony place where Lake Solaire would stand. He would stand right there looking out to the sky, to the sun. Hey, it's in the right direction too. Well, the sun was more like right there, but close enough. He would stand here and befriend him. And yeah, this would be the big bridge where the dragon would burn. And down here would be where you would be safe from the dragon. And this is the stairs that would lead to the well, it's not complete, but this would be the other area that you would sneak around under the dragon on the lower part of the bridge. Pretty cool, right? And then this over here would be where the fireplace would be, right? And the shrine would be built right here. It's not exactly the same, but I don't like making things 100% accurate. I like actually kind of changing it up where you can just like almost get a sense that it looks familiar, but it's different. We got some garden parks over here and some more up here. These banners were me experimenting with them. You see, I was building this castle when banners came around. So it's some old, this is one of the older creations that I'm still in the process of making. Heavily under construction. Some parts of the castle aren't even finished. But some parts of it is. And those are just some of the layers to this right side. But we can go to the left side and see this grand structure. Here, let me just, what is it, F1? Yeah. I had a friend recently just join and make this little park inside the structure. He never finished it, but he added a little bit more. Just constantly building. If I ever play Minecraft, this is the only server I ever join. Because, again, it's just my building outlet. I don't really have a motive to play Minecraft anymore, but if I ever do want to, I just come here to build. And here's the Grand Throne Room. I wanted to make it like Ornstein and Smokes, kind of like boss room. These big cathedral styles. Now this is one of my favorite parts. It's a small detail that people would walk by not noticing. But this ceiling is actually like, what, 5 blocks thick in 3D detail? Support beams over support beams over support beams with a pattern above it, with red torches on it, to give it a glowing look, so it just kind of sticks out. And same with these walls. It's like a 2D. I like putting layers to things. It just adds like a dimension of art that people tend to forget about when building. And yeah, this is the throne room. And when these new magma blocks came in, I installed them behind here Originally there was like diamond or emeralds there, but I thought that looked a lot nicer. And we go through these stairs over here on the sides of the throne room. We get to these big grand staircases. We're not going to take the time going up them. But then there's this like grand library. This was kind of inspired with the Forbidden Library or whatever it is. Whoa. What was that? That was an interesting mouse. I don't think I've heard that before. It was the library where Cease the Scaleless lives. There's all these rooms. But add like quarters and stuff where people live. It's actually with like the library idea mixed with the Dark Souls 2 entrance, the staircase with like the mirror knights would be placed over behind here, something like that. I don't know. It's a little mix of a few different Dark Souls concepts, building it up with all these archways, patterns, staircases. And the ceiling doesn't have much of a deep decorative design to it, but it has something. And then there's this giant painted glass window. Very fantasy-esque. It's this big dome roof to it, multiple towers. Here, let's go up the tallest tower. Whoops. Get to all this glass. Now from in here it looks like it's just made of glass, but outside it looks like it has stone frames around it. More of that 3D effect. Right here we have one of these, which we can put on. And then we can stand at the tallest point of the castle, the highest tower. It's not as tall as the mountain. Whoops. But it's pretty high. And, whoops. That was not what I meant to do. Let's try this again. Oh, man. Let's try that again. Man, it's not really working, is it? Oh, I put it on my shield. My mistake. So we can fly around the entire castle. You could do this in survival mode. And yeah, you can fly over these walls if you took the lift off. A little bit more serious. Here we can fly off these walls from up here. There we go. Goodbye, castle. That city, or at least the foundations of what a city would be, is named Vestregoth. And Vestregoth is the capital of this grassland region. Here we found the road. Let's just keep flying until we see where the road takes us. And a plop. This map's really big. I've actually took the measurements, and it's a custom map I made a long time ago. I've actually remade the map for it in like World Painter like 3 times. It started small, being only 5,000 in diameter, and then I remade it again, bigger, and it's the size of, I think it's a little bigger or a little smaller than the country of Morocco. yeah. My main goal to doing that was because I always got frustrated with sandbox worlds and how like you have a base, but the enemy base is just over the hill or through a forest. And it's not the game design's fault, it's that we just can't fit a realistic distance between things. And so I wanted to make something that was so big that you require a horse to travel, that it's not easy to travel, that distance is a security of its own. Because I wanted to make this a multiplayer map, and people's distance from each other would make people more encouraged to trade long travels and like be merchants and stuff. This is the crossroads intersection. Just made it some like old outpost that's no longer used. Has some signs. Town of Odar, Krosan, what? Oh, Krosan and GLaDOS. Those are some regions to the south. And then the capital. Oh, I never named it. It's Vastrega. We can go check out Odar. Odar is a small little farming town. I guess the origins or the idea of its inception came from the Ordon province from Zelda, Twilight Princess. And because of that, I just wanted to make this like farming province that was just south of the kingdom that would be their creation. I mean, would be like the place where they gather men to fight in the kingdom's wars. It's not much of anything, just a tall, dark oak tree with some farmhouses and this shoreline. Now this is just one of many different kinds of shorelines. I wanted to make every region have custom forests and biomes and beaches. Like I want every place to be unique in every possible way I can imagine. So I made it so the shorelines and the grasslands are like this dried grass, like it has frequent flooding. And the trees around here have this very basic, not exactly vanilla, but basic design to them that are just like simple. This is like a simple kingdom. It's like what you imagine from the concept of D&D or fantasy. Big grand castles, little farm towns in the middle of nowhere, going onward. And this is just, like I said, one of the many places. Another town under this kingdom is Borga. Borga is like a town built off a watchtower. It's like a fishing town that was built around a watchtower as the centerpiece. And from those banners you saw before, you saw the Mossy Tower one. That banner was for these guys. I was building this place after listening to a lore video of Hightower in Game of Thrones. There's some video about it, and that's when I came up with this idea of this like banner and this culture that's surrounded around this high tower as their centerpiece. It's very cool because like I said, look, this is another custom biome, this like heavy swamp region. That you can like go into the forests over here and it like peeks out. It's like a beacon, like a lighthouse in the swamp. And the swamp has like two layers to it, this upper layer and this lower layer. There's a lot to it. Here, I'll skip here, but I'm gonna try to find a big temple that's in the swamps, the Asdor Marsh somewhere. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so I'm back, and I think I found it. Yeah, it's not exactly that I found it, but I found the direction I need to go. It's yeah, a lot of entities are trying to load in right now. Oh, I think I just passed it. There it is. Just flew by it. Yeah, so like while you're on a little boat sailing through, you'll see this stone structure in the middle of a massive marshland. And I don't know, maybe if you're in the sky or walking around on top of these trees, you'll see it piercing the tree line. This thing, I don't know where I got the idea of making this. I just wanted to make a big temple out in the jungles. So, That's what I did. Whoops. And there we go. It's like this big water temple. There's not much else to it, but just the aesthetic of this strange thing. You can get up it by taking these waterways. It has no ladders or man-made structures in it. It's just water as the means of travel to get up the tower. Various different decorative ways. And even though it has so many different designs to it, these little parks all look cheap. Little parks and stuff, and more higher up levels that go way up to the sky, and all these different blockading ways. I've made it so that rain still can go all the way down here. So even if you're on this bottom floor, looking up here, we can make it rain. And even though it has all these floors to it, water still seems to seep down here, giving it kind of like a visual explanation of how water's in here. It's pretty, isn't it? Now on every floor there's just a little bit more water. Whoops. A little bit more water falling. Oh, I guess not here. But there's a little bit more here. And then, of course, this is the ceiling. This big beacon to it. It's pretty. I mean, technically, I guess I could put a beacon in here and it would go straight through to the skies, but I think I built this before beacons were a thing. Maybe beacons were a thing, I don't know. This map's old. I just continuously update it. Like, it's not like the map geography and landscape is outdated. I always keep it up to date with like the trees and the landscape, things like that. Anyway, this is just one of the places. Another cool place to check out is, let's check the Moor. The Moor is, I mean, how would I say? It's a dwarven kingdom. It's not complete. This is actually one of the more recent ones. You see, I haven't even finished. I was doing this just yesterday. I was carving out the side of this thing. I love carving into stone. Stonework is actually my favorite thing to build or to work with. And I was just doing something there with it, carving out these roads. I kind of made this wall, but I had my cousin. He's the one who added like the top to it. It's being this like pathway on top of the wall. I mean, it's not the most amazing thing ever, but it's pretty. And if we're flying over here, I had a friend named Fro. That's an experiment right there. That's not the complete version. This guy named Fro and I both built this like entrance into the mountain. I wanted to make it like grand, but not too tall. I don't like them being too tall, so there's still plenty of mountain layer to it. And you see, even the mountains here have this very realistic, natural look to them, where snow kind of falls apart, and edges and cliffs and stuff. Anyway, and I looked at a lot of like lonely mountain designs to get this pattern design to it. Very, very thick in design. And then this is the grand entrance into the mountain. It's pretty big. And this here is another custom biome. I call them inner hollows. Inner hollows are these massive cavern systems. They're just monstrous in size, giving me a lot of potential to be able to continue building. See, my idea for this city was that it was going to be built on this side of the mountain, and it was going to have a shooting out bridge that went across this lava lake into like a big citadel built on the other side of the cavern, almost using the ravine itself as like the moat separating the city from the citadel. And these caverns go on forever. But you know, the thing always been worried about these was that if the mountain walls were too thin, like, would people be able to just break right into here anywhere? Well, if you're digging on the mountains from up there, there's a good chance you actually, like, dig your way through the mountain before you even hit these caverns. These caverns are massive, but they're deep enough in where you see this big tunnel. This is about maybe 50 blocks deep, maybe. And the best time to dig straight in is at ground level, which is about here. But people are usually going to dig down and straight, which means they won't actually get into the cavern system. And if you go up and dig in, you probably won't either. You're only going to hit it if you're around that level, this level here. So even though they're massive caverns and practically a biome of its own, they're deep enough in, and the mountain walls are thick enough where not everyone is gonna bump into them. And here's a good example of another custom forest. It's just a normal forest like the others, but look at the ground to it. It has this custom ground level to it. There's a biome-specific design, and the trees have a biome-specific design. Oh dear, what's going on here? Oh, it's just trying to load in. It's all custom. It's all gives the identity that no location of the world is the same as somewhere else. There may be multiple forest biomes, but they're not the same forest. That's kind of the intention. This forest slowly turns into the Asdor Marsh eventually. And one of the places I actually want to check out that I haven't seen before is a small little waterfall I designed in World Painter. It was an experiment I made a while back. Good, maybe 11 months or so. But we just need to look north. Yes. We are actually, I think, yeah, we're at the body of water that connects to this little waterfall I made. So let's go see where this waterfall is. Hopefully it turned out how I remember it, because I've done a lot of different small experiments to make this. Hopefully, not all of them worked out well, but most of them, after doing multiple tests, worked out pretty well. Here, we've got the river, this nice little forest, some openings in the forest, and here's the little cliffside. Yep, and this is the little whitewater rafting. This is made in World Painter, even though it's not perfect, could be made better. But that's my little waterfall, leading into a lower body of water with these little cliff sides to it. It's very natural, small. It's not a big deal, but it has a very good potential for building, like maybe like a little town or an inn, maybe just a watchtower over by this side. It has a very realistic, natural look to it. And that's what my intention was, to make a fantasy world that you could feel yourself living in. Of course, this is just, you know, one of the kingdoms. I have so many different structures in this place. We can go /warp Stanimir. Stanimir is this like one of these northern lands in this place I call, that was an experiment, don't worry about the floating tree. This is the cloud pine biome, and no, not the whole place is flowery like that. I mean, they have flowers, but it's not as dense as it is in the open over here. The cloud biome, I made this cloud pine biome before there was the mega taiga biome, but then, you know, it's better than the mega taiga biome anyway, so it worked out for me in the end. And although these villages aren't fully complete, my goal was to make it so that they're open enough for building potential for survival. I made the whole world with this intention that people would play in survival and would inhabit these settlements and build them up. See, there's the chieftain hut right there in this like little makeshift citadel in the middle of this region that would be like the surrounding town. Whoops. some basic house designs and a little temple right there. Very natural, very basic, very aesthetic. I mean, there's so much more to it that I could go on about. This video would take hours if I tried to show everything. But here, I can just give you a little bit of a look at what the whole world looks like. So here we're looking at the this live map I have. I use this not just for aesthetic prettiness, but because I have trouble getting around my map. You know, being a world the size of the country of Morocco, it's big and it's hard to navigate and try to get to the right locations. So if we click this green cube here, we can get the 3D view and we can see the whole world. Now there's an airship right here. Maybe next time I'll show that off. But I have lore to it on why this looks like a giant mess. The idea was that there was a big city here and it all blew up, and that's why there's an airship there, because that's the only governing structure managing the city, or what's trying to be built up again as the city. And this here, these blue things, this ore can only be found in this dry land, so it's known as Zelen gold, because that's their means of ore that they trade with surrounding civilizations. And there's like a castle built on a bridge. That was inspired by Game of Thrones, the twins, but instead of 2 towers, it's just a big castle right in the middle of the bridge with multiple like gate passes or security means. Yeah, this is the country of the Zelen Imperial Union, which is pretty big. It has this like natural look where it goes from like grasslands to dry grasslands to deserts. And yeah, there's this lush spot here, but that's because like the northern cold winds come down here and cool this area off, and it's separated by mountains here. I wanted to give it like a geographically realistic aspect to it, where deserts are near deserts and lush lands are near lush lands, and everything kind of flows into each other in a very natural way, where you would actually believe you would travel to a colder land the more north you go. You travel to a more lush land the more south you go, or more warm. And there's like this is the GLaDOS. It's like this volcanic region with this like big like tower. I call it the Undead Scholars tower here. And I used a lot of inspiration from Brim's tower from Dark Souls 2 DLC, and the design of making this tower. And there's like a town built into the cliffside over here, like sculpted into the rock, that like is the populace that help support this tower and the scholars. There's a big volcano right there, and some hot springs over here. Very very natural and just pretty. These little like ravines. And then there's like these marshlands, and like even every biome has its own smaller biomes to it. That was kind of the idea. Little town built on the lake, like a lake town Hobbit idea. And then there's this like little Roman styled little village, little palette of the tools we used to build it. And this year I wanted to make like this Japanese clan idea of clans built on this like place over here, the Onin Isles. This is a very unique area right here, and these are the Mushroom Islands. I mean, everyone's seen those, but these are very custom biomes, like to the point where there's nothing to compare them to. They're just completely unique and bizarre. I call it the stone trees because they have these like massive ravine designs to them, where like you could build a house in here, cobble, and no one would ever find you, because the whole region has this very destructive look to it, where you could hide in plain sight. And that's just one of the smaller places. There was like several layers of unique cavern systems under this region. You can get like just a peek of that idea right here. There's like grass glass and glowstone, and it's just this glowing, strange land underground with this like moon-like landscape above. And it slowly turns into the mountains over here, which is where like the Dazdemer, practically dwarves, live. They live in all these massive cavern systems. Here's that big citadel area. And you see how the mountains aren't just one mountain range, like in other sandboxes and stuff. You know, when people make mountain ranges and stuff, it's usually just one chain of mountains. But in this one, it's almost a biome of its own. I mean, yes, it's a small biome, but to travel through here, you have to climb over like 1, 2, 3, 4 mountains before you can actually get to the other side. To have a path through here would take maybe a 10-minute walk, really, to just get through here. Maybe less, but due to the elevation and stuff, it makes it difficult. The mountains are what slows people down. And here's that custom forest design with the marshes. There's Borga, Vestergoth, and Mordar. Krosun's gonna be a big city right down here to the south. Kind of like a mirror of capital might to the south, but has loyalty to them. Well, in the lore, they're going to be like kind of like trying to separate themselves. This whole valley kind of want to be their own country. They like put a giant gate right here, and right here I made this like opening where like a big black gate, like, you know, the gates to Mordor could be. These people aren't evil. The undead scholars are only undead because they found means to keep themselves alive so they can continually gather knowledge and record history. They're like the teachers of the world, and because they live forever, they have the best means to do it. So it's almost like a university. And it's built in this hostile environment because they're naturally not very, you know, powerful in the means of military might. So they live in the region of the world that people have least interest of even like going. So because of that, those who inhabit this region kind of have a haven from, you know, war, because no one cares to ever actually go here. And that's why it's a thriving place for knowledge, because, you know, no one's gonna be burning the books if they're not, you know, whatever. We're in Stannismere, which is like this right here. This is like the tribe, the most southern tribe of the, well, actually technically this is the most southern tribe, but this is the most like merchant open tribe of the Dropco tundra. Here's this, there's a tribe right here, this big citadel castle right there, but tribes right here is this little like Viking town in the middle of the snow wasteland, snow plains. And then there's like these forest regions, another town right over here built in like a mining region, and where the town grew. And you can see where these roads are around the world. And another very cool aspect were these glaciers. These glaciers, I really like the designs of these glaciers. And if you go super far north, yeah, you can see these ice trees. So like you go from like pine to snowy pine to like frozen ice trees to the very far north. And right here is another one of the tribes that's built on a lake. It's like this big labyrinth castle. And then there's like this ice bridge, which I'm gonna like design a real bridge, but I just wanted to make ice, a biome set ice here so that it naturally never melts. And then it can have like a real decorative massive ice bridge design that goes up here, because there's a tribe that's built like right here, and they're known as like the polar tribe. They're very isolated, and they don't like the southern tribes. They envy the southern tribes, and they continuously raid them because you know, they don't have the resources to survive on their own up here so far north. And this here is like known as Dropco. It's the lush land that makes up the chieftain lord, who is kind of like the presidential leader of all the tribes, but he doesn't have like severe military might. It's more of like he just they are sworn to him, and if anyone invades Dorokia, then they would all bend under his command, and he would march south to defend. And then over here is the I can't remember what they're called, the Vasteria realm, something like that. Over here we have the floating islands, the Cerium, what do they call it? Cerium Cadre, which is like Latin for haven. There's a little too much to talk about though. Over here we got the Exionic Isles, which have these like massive ant mounds, these like termite mounds, and it's in the middle of this like their own biome. There's some weird bizarre pillars and plateaus and this mountain range of canyons and stuff, with some more lush lands. Like it's like right here it practically looks like Australia, and then over here it has this region, which I don't know if people are going to recognize, but there's a region here, and there's a region right next to it, right here. These regions here and here are heavily inspired by Dark Cloud and the shoreline dungeons of Dark Cloud 2 with the water side, the ocean sides. They have these like cavern systems and all these like platforms of grass and caves. It really looks like that. Maybe I'll show it another time. Then we got these like tropical islands to the far south, with all these like custom little tropical trees and shrubbery on it. In the water, you don't see it here, but there's these massive coral reefs in the water down here, giving like a custom water biome to it, making it completely unique from any other region of the world, any other island. You get these like cliff sides and stuff. I kind of imagine Aztec culture living on these like cliff sides and mountains with all these big wooden bridges, kind of like bending around, zigzagging around these islands. And then over in this opening, there's going to be the creation of like this big holy city, because there's the foundation of one of the first religions was built here. And yeah, that's... Oh, in the dense desert, there's some temples and structures around here. Some big citadels and stuff. I'll show that another time. And, yeah, this is the Dropco world. Dropco has a lot of lore and buildings and designs in it, but that's all it is. It's just a world. I just wanted to share the amazing creations I've made in it, because, I mean, no one else is ever gonna see it. And that's how I always thought, is that I'm building for no reason. So I thought, maybe today I'll show what I've made. And even though I've showed only like maybe 2% of that, and that, and oh that, I only showed this region in game. But of course, there are so many other regions and structures around this world. Oh, of course that. But I haven't shown anything else of the Northern Tundra, or like in-game, or anything on this side, the Seoul coastline. Yeah, there's so much more to this world. And maybe one day I will do more. I don't know. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I inspired someone to build. If anyone wants to join me in building in this world, I'd welcome it. I always enjoyed building with other people, but you know, it's okay if no one else wants to. Thank you for taking the time to watch and see all of this. I guess I'll just talk to you later.